as we share information with you that we hope will help you to better understand your child's road to high school graduation and beyond. I'm Gail Batone. I work for Hillsborough County Public Schools in the Department of Accelerated Programs, and I'm joined tonight by...
Hi, everyone. I'm Julie McLeod, and I'm also at Hillsborough County Public Schools in the Division of Climate and Culture.
All right. Understanding what it's going to take for your child to graduate from high school while making sure that your child has many options for post-secondary education can be very confusing and overwhelming. Oftentimes when you speak with educators, they have a tendency to, well, I guess I should include myself, we have a tendency to rattle off fancy acronyms and speak very fast as if everyone knows what we're talking about. I experienced this firsthand with my own daughter when she entered high school. And although my background is in school counseling, I was an elementary counselor at the time that my daughter entered the 9th grade. I knew nothing about high school graduation requirements and the number of credits and classes she needed to take, or the assessments that were required for her to obtain a standard high school diploma. I knew what a grade point average was, but I had no idea how it was calculated. And also I didn't know what the minimum GPA was that she needed to get her diploma. I also did not understand the importance of selecting certain courses so that my daughter would have options for her post-secondary education. Luckily, the school counseling department at the school my daughter attended was amazing and helped her and I navigate successfully through her high school years and beyond. And I'm happy to say that my daughter is now a school social worker for Hillsborough County Public Schools. Anyway, sorry. Through our presentation, it is our hope to empower you with pertinent information and resources so that you can be an active member on our team as we all work together to prepare our students for life. The first thing we want to do is find out who has joined us this evening. So we would hope that you participate in our poll by indicating your child or children's current grade level or levels. Before getting into all of the specifics on graduation requirements, we wanted to let you know that the graduation requirements are posted on our district website. Once on the district website, click on students, then you're going to scroll all the way down to the bottom of the page where you will find helpful links. You will find a link to the graduation requirements under student information. When you click on the graduation requirements link, oops, oh, hang on a second, the poll is, well, that's interesting. So we even have a few people from elementary here with us. That's awesome. Way to be proactive with your child's education. And you middle school people, I love my freshmen and seniors and juniors and sophomores. Thank you again, all of you, for being here. This is great. Okay, so back to our graduation requirements and where you can find them. After you click on the graduation requirements link, that you will be brought to the school counseling page where the graduation requirements are posted in both English and Spanish. While we are looking at our district website page under students, I wanted to bring your attention to the student progression plan. This link will take you to our student progression plan. And this plan, it lists everything and anything you would ever want to know about our schools and what the requirements are for every grade level. So this is even for our elementary, middle, and high school people. They have a section for elementary, a section for middle, and a section for high school. Awesome, awesome stuff. The state of Florida has several basic requirements that students enrolled in public schools must meet in order to obtain a standard high school diploma. I use the word basic because the graduation requirements that we will be sharing with you are, again, the minimum requirements your child needs to meet in order to obtain a standard high school diploma. Depending on what your child plans to do after high school, will determine additional requirements he or she may need to complete in order to qualify for, let's say, admission to a college or scholarships such as Bright Futures. We will touch on some of those later in our presentation, but for now, the first of the graduation requirements we are going to discuss are the number of credits and classes your child needs to successfully earn and pass. So the total number of credits for a standard high school diploma is 24. It's important to understand that a semester-only class is equal to a half a credit, like economics. A full year class is equal to 1 credit. And this is the tricky part. This is the part that confuses people sometimes. However, because the credit for the full year class is divided among semester 1 and semester 2. Meaning your child needs to earn a passing grade for semester 1 and a passing grade for semester 2 in order to earn the full credit. Now, let's say, unfortunately, that your child failed first semester of English 1. He or she would only need to retake and pass the first semester of English 1 in order to receive the full credit. Hopefully that is clear to you all. That confuses a lot of middle school parents as their children enter high school. On this slide, we will discuss the traditional courses students take to meet these requirements. Later in our presentation, we will discuss classes students may choose to take to add rigor to their transcript, depending on what they aspire to do for their post-secondary education. Students need 4 credits of English. The typical path is English 1 in the 9th grade, English 2 in 10th grade, English 3 in 11th grade, and English 4 in 12th grade. Students also need 4 credits of math. Algebra 1 and geometry are both required math classes, and students will then take at least an additional 2 math classes depending on their strengths in math. We listed a few examples of classes that your children may take additional math classes. Students need a minimum of 3 credits in science, with biology being the required course. And again, we listed some other examples of science classes that your child may take. High schools offer a variety of classes in all of these subject areas. Students need a total of 3 social studies credits. U.S. government, world history, U.S. history, and economics are all required social studies classes. Students also need a full credit of a fine and performing art, speech and debate, or practical arts class. We put up a couple examples of those. One would be band or digital info tech or drawing. Those are just a few that the students can take to meet that fine and performing arts, speech and debate. Obviously, they could take speech and debate if it was offered at the high school, or the practical arts course. Students also need 1 credit of hope, which meets the physical education requirement. One of my favorite sayings is, everyone needs hope. I know. And finally, students need a total of 8 elective credits. High schools offer a variety of classes for students to take depending on their interests. It's important to remember that the state of Florida also requires that at least 1 full course within the required 24 credits must be completed through online learning. I emphasized full course, because if your child chooses to take a full credit course online, he or she must complete both semesters of the class online in order for it to meet the online requirement. There are many semester courses from which to choose if your child does not want to take a full year course online. Second graduation requirement we're going to discuss are the assessments your child needs to successfully pass in order to obtain a standard high school diploma. It's important to note that these requirements are for students who entered ninth grade in the 2018-19 school year or later. The way students can, The way students can also meet the assessment requirements are slightly different for our current seniors, which we will discuss on the next slide. So again, this slide is not for our current seniors. Students need to earn a level 3 or higher on the English language arts grade 10 FSA. And students also need to earn a level 3 or higher on the Algebra 1 end of course exam. For students who have not met a level 3 or higher on the grade 10 ELA FSA, the state of Florida has determined that a score of 480 or higher on the SAT, evidence-based reading and writing, or the English and reading subtest average score of 18 or higher on the ACT is equivalent to a level 3 on the English Language Arts ELA FSA. For students who have not met a level 3 or higher on the Algebra 1 end of course exam, the state of Florida has determined that a PSAT math score of 430 or higher, or an SAT score of 420 or higher, or an ACT math score of 16 or higher is equivalent to a level 3 on the Algebra 1 end of course exam and will meet that part of the assessment graduation requirement. Now here's where the difference is for our current seniors. So our seniors still need to earn a level 3 or higher on the grade 10 ELA FSA and a level 3 or higher on the Algebra 1 EOC. However, the way these students also meet that graduation assessment requirement differs from those who entered ninth grade in 2018-19 or after. These students can use an SAT evidence-based reading and writing score of 430 or higher. Now remember, that changed to 480 now for our students who entered ninth grade after 2018-19 or after this year. So it's a lot higher. These students, our seniors this year, can also use a reading subtest score of 24 on the SAT, which the state has now gotten rid of that for our younger students. Or they can also use an ACT reading score of 19. They can also use the new requirement is the ACT English and Reading Subtest average of 18 or higher. And the cool thing about the 18 is if a student gets a total of 17.5, that's rounded up to equal 18. So that's nice, good news. These students, in addition to all of the math, we talked about the PSAT score, an MSQT of 430, the SAT of 420, and the ACT math score of 16 or higher. These students can also use a PERT math score of 97. When I say these students, remember I'm talking about our current seniors or those who entered the ninth grade in 2017, 18, or before. I mentioned the PSAT, SAT, and ACT as additional tests that can be used to meet the assessment graduation requirements. Both the ACT and SAT scores are used for college admissions decisions and awarding merit-based scholarships. College Board developed the SAT suite of assessments, which is an integrated system of tests measuring the same skills and knowledge to help students and educators monitor progress and college readiness. Hillsborough County Public Schools is such an amazing school district and actually pays for all of our 8th graders to take the PSAT 8-9 and pays for all of our 9th, 10th, and 11th graders to take the PSAT NMSQT. And NMSQT stands for National Merit Scholarship Qualifying Test, which is something that the juniors can, if they earn a certain score in their junior year on that test, they can become a national merit finalist, which is an amazing, amazing scholarship opportunities, and everything opens up for that lucky, not lucky, very smart student. Our district also pays for juniors enrolled in our schools to take an SAT during the school day in the spring of their junior year. It's incredible. The district also pays for all seniors who have not yet met either the ELA, FSA, or actually the Algebra 1 EOC to take a non-reportable SAT school day and a non-reportable ACT school day in the fall of their senior year, and again in the spring if they still have not yet met their assessment graduation requirement. The SAT and ACT school day tests that we administer to the seniors are non-reportable to college and scholarships because the students all receive extended time on the tests. The students receive 50% extended time on the SAT, and on the ACT, they receive triple time, which is amazing for some of our students who may have a language barrier or whatever. That extra time just gives them a little bit more of a boost to help them out. Typically, just as an aside, if your child has a 504 plan or an IEP, there is a coordinator. It's called the Services for Students with Disabilities Coordinator at a middle school and the high school, who needs to submit requests for accommodations. If your child wants to get any type of accommodation on any of these tests listed here, a request has to be submitted and approved by either the College Board or ACT, depending on which test. If your child receives those accommodations, let's say in their 9th grade year, they will be good for any future PSAT, SAT, AP exam that they take. And the same thing with the ACT. Now, I didn't do much service to ACT on this slide because ACT also offers a whole suite of assessments, but we opted for the College Board product, so that's why I pointed that one out. And I wanted to let you know too that offering all of these assessments free of charge to students is not common practice around the country. So our students are very, very, very lucky to be enrolled in Hillsborough County Public Schools. If you can't tell, I'm very proud to be working in this district.
Okay, we're going to talk about graduation requirements, grade point average, or GPA now. So there are different types of GPAs. We'll talk about a district or weighted GPA in a little bit. But right now we're going to start with the state GPA, which is unweighted. And we're going to start with this because that is in fact what the graduation requirement is. Students must earn a 2.0 or higher GPA in order to graduate high school. So when they put all those 24 credits together and any additional credits they take, and together those basically have to average out to at least a C. If you look at the table on the right, this shows you kind of how it's calculated. All semester letter grades get converted to numbers. So an A is a 4, a B is a 3, a C is a 2. So basically if the kids average to at least a C, they'll meet this graduation requirement. These numbers are averaged together for all semesters combined. So this slide shows you kind of a mock-up pretend report card like you would see when you at the end of each semester. So this would be like at the end of the first semester, you'll get your grade period 1 grades, which is your first quarter, your grade period 2 grades, which is your second quarter. Obviously, this is at the end of the first semester, so you wouldn't have third or fourth quarter yet. You have an exam grade, and together, the 2 quarters and the exam make up the semester. So the semester grade average is the only thing that goes into your GPA. All right, so each of those A's get converted to 4s, the B's get converted to 3s, the C's get converted to 2s. We add them all up. We divide by the number of courses that there are, and usually there's 7. And in this case, the student earned a 3.14 GPA for the semester. And basically you would do this for all courses combined over the student's entire course history. So where do you find your child's report card? Is on the district website. And if you go to our district website and you click on students, where Gail showed you earlier, you scroll down to the resources tab, and then you'll see in the bottom right there, there's online report cards and test scores. And if you click on that, you'll need a PIN, and you'll need, or if you've done it before, I think you need a password. But if you don't have that information, you can get it from, there's phone numbers on there where you can get your help or get assistance. In that same place where the report cards are, you can actually get test score results as well, the state test score results. I think I saw that in the chat that someone was asking. So you can get your ELA, FSA assessments as well. Gail, if you could go back one, sorry. So this is what a sample report card looks like, and this is one actually from last year showing third and fourth quarter. The exams were all H because we didn't do exams, and that just means it didn't count or you didn't have an exam. But you can still see the overall grades. You can see they got credits. And then what's cool is on the report card really has a lot of information on it if you look carefully. This particular student made the honor roll, and then you'll see 3 different GPAs. So we're going to talk about district GPA in a few minutes because that's weighted. But notice the first one says current report card. So just for this semester, this student earned a 3.6685. That's just this semester alone. But this student was a junior. And so their cumulative district GPA, which is what is used for class rank, and again, we'll talk about that in a little bit. And we'll talk about how you get high points over 4 because it is weighted. But that includes like all of their high school courses they've ever taken from 9th grade or even earlier if they took algebra or some other high school courses in middle school. So if those of you who have middle schoolers out there, if they take high school credit bearing courses, that starts their high school GPA and it plays into it. So they need to be very cognizant of that as they start down that journey. And then it gives you your cumulative state GPA, which remember is a 2.0 graduation requirement. Also on the report card is some information about the benchmarks that Gail was talking about earlier. So again, they put the 2.0 cumulative state grade point average there. And then they mentioned the grade 10 FSA ELA. So this particular student has already met that requirement and has met the Algebra 1 EOC requirement. But if you see no's on this, that means that your student has not yet met those requirements and still needs to be working towards that. It gives you a little bit about how to calculate a state and a district GPA or what it's used for, gives you some links to Bright Futures, which we're going to talk about in a little bit too. And this particular, again, this was a report card from the end of last year. So the report cards provide great information. And this particular one talks about how this governor's executive order, because of the pandemic, had postponed EOCs and what that means for students who were in EOC courses. So Algebra 1, Geometry, Biology, and US History all have EOCs or end of course exams at the end of them. And depending on what you needed for that, or passing the assessments like Gail mentioned. So again, just make sure you look at these report cards because they do have a lot of great information.
I was actually shocked when we looked at that report card and I said, wow, is this stuff new on here? Because I never noticed all that before. But again, it's just a matter of paying attention and reading, I guess. As I mentioned earlier, when discussing the required number of credits and classes needed to earn a standard high school diploma, there are classes that students can take in the 7 subject areas that will add rigor to their schedules and possibly even earn industry certification or free college credits while in high school, or both for that matter. I came up with a few suggestions on ways that students can add rigor to their schedules. But before rushing into signing up for every upper level class, you guys will want to consider a few things, like your child's work ethic, previous grades in the classes, and his or her interest in the subject matter. I know that I love reading and writing, so choosing honors courses in English would definitely be appropriate for me. However, I struggle in math, so I'm pretty sure the regular geometry class would be more appropriate for me to take. I love history, so world history honors would also be a good fit for me. Now, a lot of times there's a team of people that will make these decisions also. So your teachers, your child's teachers may recommend which level course your child goes into, but it's also important for you to remember that as the parent, you have the right to request the classes that you want your child to take or the level of class. Knowing though, careful consideration must be put into that when you're determining if you want to go up a level from what the teacher is actually recommending. Just keeping in mind, you know, that teacher is with your child every day. So just being careful and mindful and making sure that your child is actually on board with your decision to increase the level, because the last thing you want to do is have your child be miserable and fail. So we want to set our kids up for, you know, for success. Another way students can add rigor is enrolling in the AP version of a core course that may be offered. So like for instance, English 3 honors is taken, like I had said earlier, in your child's junior year. Your child could opt to take, instead of English 3 honors, they could choose AP English Language and Composition. Or instead of World History honors, they may choose to take AP World History. A couple of the many benefits of taking AP courses is that they really do prepare students for college level work. And if your child earns a 3 or higher on the AP exam, he or she could potentially earn college credit. And that also depends on the college your child attends. Okay, that's an important thing to remember. It depends on the college your child attends. So we'll talk a little bit later about research that we'd like for you guys to be doing to make sure that you've got everything lined up and you don't have any surprises. Another great way for students to add rigor to their schedules by taking industry certification courses. These will vary by high school. Some high schools will offer a course called digital design. There's digital info technology. And another option for students is taking dual enrollment courses. But I'm sorry, let me back up a second though. By taking industry certification courses, your child is then given an opportunity to take the industry certification exam associated with that course. So imagine applying, if they earn the industry certification, just imagine applying for a job that requires the certification, the bump in pay that your child will receive just because of the high school classes they took and the industry certifications they received for free. Well, free time studying, I guess, probably, and working hard. Enrolling in dual enrollment courses is another way for your child to add rigor to his or her schedule and earn free college credit. Students do need to meet eligibility requirements for dual enrollment, and it's important to understand that your child is beginning his or her college GPA. So it's very important to maintain good grades. Just like Julie was mentioning with middle school students taking high school level courses, sometimes it's hard for our children to understand the importance of that GPA, that importance of those grades that they're earning in middle school that are now going to impact them in their high school year. So if your child gets a D in a high school course that they take in middle school, they are entering high school with a 1.0 GPA. Well, the same is true for students who take dual enrollment courses while in high school. If they get a D on a dual enrollment class, they now have a D on their college transcript, a 1.0. So it's critical that everybody understands that it's a great way to, like I said, earn free college credit, but people need to understand everything that's involved with it. And finally, your child can choose to take an AP elective course like AP Art History, AP Human Geography, or AP Psychology. Again, potentially earning free college credit by scoring a level 3 or higher on the exam.
So now we're going to talk about district GPA. This is the weighted GPA. Again, this is the district, this is the GPA that's used for class rank. It provides extra points added to the cumulative GPA for academically rigorous coursework, all that coursework that Gail just discussed. So it's all per half credit because everything's done per semester. If your child takes an honors course, they get an extra 0.04 added to their cumulative GPA. And if they take AP, dual enrollment, IB, or ACE courses, they get an extra 0.08 added to their cumulative GPA. So let's go back to our example. And this student, remember, we had a 3.14 GPA that we had calculated, and the student took 2 honors courses and an AP course. So we decided to put, we added 0.04 for each of the 2 honors courses and added 0.08 to the AP course. And that gives us a total of 3.3. And that would be the district weighted GPA for this particular student for this semester. And those extra points can really add up over time, and you'll see kids with into the 5 or 6 or even 7 points on their GPA if they take a lot of these courses. So that can really impact the GPA a lot. But again, it's not going to do you any good if you're getting lower grades in the courses, and you know, it kind of counteracts the effect of it. So you want to be really cautious about it.
Like we've been talking about, there are many paths that students can take when they graduate from high school. Some choose to attend a 2 or 4-year college or university. Others may choose to enlist in the military, and others can choose to attend a technical college, or some may just want to go straight into the workforce. But if students don't look ahead to where they want to go and figure out what is needed to get there, they may not have the options they would like after walking across that graduation stage. I always said it was the saddest day as a high school counselor when I'm behind the stage there handing out the diplomas to the students after they've graduated and asking these seniors, you know, now what are you going to do? I'm all excited, like, what are you going to do with your next chapter? And it was heartbreaking if they tell me they didn't know, and I felt like I had failed them. So hence why I'm doing this with you all right now, to hopefully get you on my team so we can get these kids focused on thinking about what it is that they want to do after they graduate from high school. Now, if your child is a senior who hasn't thought about what they want to do after high school graduation, the time is now to start exploring their options while they have the support of caring counselors and teachers. Knowing what's required. We love this slide with these open doors. You know, it's a great feeling when you have every door open to you and you get to choose which one you want to go through. That is our goal for our high school, or all of our students in Hillsborough County Public Schools. For when they reach their 12th grade year, all of the doors are open and they can choose which one to go through. I have to share a story with you that happened this past May. I received a call from a parent of a senior who had waited until the spring of her senior year to apply to a university. The student received a letter from the university in May stating that she would need to retake the SAT or ACT because her scores did not meet the university's minimum requirements for admission. The girl was heartbroken, as you can imagine. Her total SAT score was quite high, but this university used the subtest scores to determine admissions. She was well above the score the university required on her reading subtest score, but she was 2 points short on her math subtest score. I was shocked. I didn't realize that universities use subtest scores on the SAT as part of their admissions requirements. So I called the university admissions office on behalf of the student to see if possibly they would grant a bit of leniency due to the fact that we were in the middle of a pandemic and everyone was learning and working from home, and the girl had an amazing grade point average. Unfortunately, the answer was no, so I had to call the family and deliver the sad news. However, on a positive note, I'm happy to tell you that the student qualified for an ACT fee waiver. So students who are on juniors and seniors who are on free or reduced lunch can get up to 4 free ACT fee waivers and 2 SAT fee waivers. So this girl registered for the ACT for free, and I am really happy to say that she earned the math subtest score that she needed for admissions, and she will be attending the university beginning in the spring term of 2021, so next spring. I shared that story with you in hopes that you will help your child begin to take a look at what it will take for him or her to attain his or her post-secondary dreams. As I mentioned, there are many paths that students can take when they graduate, but it is really important to explore what each of those paths requires, ensuring that your child has what it takes to get there. The story I shared with you is a perfect example of a student who knew where she wanted to continue her education after high school. However, she hadn't researched what the requirements were to be admitted to that university. Had she done that, she would have retaken the SAT or ACT in the fall of her senior year. She had only taken one SAT, and that was the SAT that the district paid for on a school day in her spring of her junior year. So Julie and I did some research while planning for this presentation and found the websites posted on this slide that we think will be very helpful for determining what it will take for your child to either enlist in the military, apply to a community or state college, apply to one of the 12 universities in our Florida State University system, or to one of the really great technical colleges that Hillsborough County offers. We also provided a link to the Bright Futures website, which is a scholarship program for students who meet certain criteria. One of the requirements for Bright Futures is community service hours. Now, many parents often ask how many community service hours are required to graduate. Well, the state of Florida does not require community service hours to earn a standard high school diploma. However, in order to qualify for Bright Futures, students do need to complete a specified number of community service hours. And you can find all the information on that website, Florida Student Financial AIDS.org. I didn't added an S and a G, but that is the website. If your child is interested in playing sports in college, you'll want to check out the NCAA's website. They have some very specific requirements in order for their athletes to become students at the university. We really encourage you to visit these websites as you and your child explore the various post-secondary options and discover what it will take to get there.
So we also looked for some other resources to help you all. There's a ton of them out there, but these are ones that we recommend. So Florida Shines is an array of online tools and resources for students, specifically to Florida, to help you succeed in school, look at what you need for earning a college degree, explore some different careers. Know How to Go is also is specific to college, but it's to help students figure out how they're going to get to college with different advice and even virtual campus tours and things like that. College Board helps you find their College Board Big Future website helps you find the right college major or even career. Gail, if you want to go on to the next one for me, please. The IES has a National Center for Education Statistics College Navigator, and there's some search tools in there where you can search by size or by cost or by type of school or by major, all sorts of interesting things. Federal Student Aid is where you would go for FAFSA, which is the federal, I don't remember, Gail might know that, but it's the application for federal and financial aid.
Application for federal student aid. Free
Yes.
application.
Okay, thank you. But it also has other options for college and careers and different things, so resources along the way. The National PTA website is awesome. It's got a lot of just different information resources towards both college and careers. My Next Move, you can look for careers by keywords or interests or what you need to do to prepare for it or the outlooks for these different careers and things like that. Mapping Your Future, provides programs and initiatives to help people achieve financial wellness. So just kind of where this would go with your life. Career One Stop and Career Source Tampa Bay also are just career exploration, training, jobs, all sorts of great tools, resources, information salary and wage, building resume, all kinds of things. And so we just really wanted to say thank you to all of you, because you're amazing to be here, to be finding out how you can help your child succeed, reach graduation, and then, you know, have that plan for moving on past graduation.
We shared a lot of information with you tonight in a short period of time, so hopefully you'll be able to explore some of our resources that we provided and have fun doing it.
Yes, thank you so much. That was great information. I learned so much. Thank you, Gail and Julie. That was an awesome presentation. Now we have lots of questions, so let's get to it, because we have about 20 minutes, so I think we can get through all of the questions. And as you're thinking, parents, go ahead and put your questions in the chat. I'm going to go ahead and start. This question, it was in the Q&A. It says, does 4 semesters of JROTC, is that okay for PE?
Sorry, 2 years of ROTC counts for HOPE, and it also counts for the performing in fine art requirement. So 2 classes.
Okay, thank you for that. Can the non-reportable ACT and SAT scores be counted toward Florida Bright Futures requirements?
No, they are for state assessment purposes only. So that's it, just meeting the benchmarks.
Okay, thank you.
But they won't count for college either.
Okay.
The goal of that test is purely to make sure that these kids are getting that piece, that hurdle over with to get their diploma.
Okay, thank you. Should the student with an IEP get the extra time, or will it be held against them trying to get into college?
Nope, that's a great question, but they will not discriminate against that. If they did, they'd be in big trouble. Get the extra time.
That's right. Do you know the date for the NMSQT and SAT for juniors in the spring? Is it the same for all high schools?
Okay, so this year, due to the COVID-19, College Board has added a couple PSAT and MSQT testing dates. Just so you know, it's never, ever, ever administered on more than one day. It's usually a day in October. But because of COVID and thinking that schools may have needed to divide up their schools to test safely, they added additional dates. Now there is one additional date. I know it's in January. However, not all high schools are going to be utilizing that day if they've already tested. So that's purely up to the high school. Again, it was an added thing. It's not for kids who are absent. Some schools are using that date though, if they did have a large group of students who are, like, let's say quarantining or something like that, then they are. But you would have to ask the high school. Now the SAT school day for juniors is, I want to say, in April. I'll have to check on that.
Okay.
Let me look right now.
Okay, so while you're looking, I'm going to go ahead and ask, do 504 plans move on to high school automatically, or do parents need to request a new plan once the students reach high school?
They will review your 504 plan should be reviewed annually. So when your child gets to high school, the nice thing is they're electronic now. So the high school will get it electronically, but then it's important, be an advocate. And, if you're not contacted sooner than you would like, just reach out to your counselor, your child's counselor, and just ask a request to review it, or if you want to update it, add things to it or whatever. So it's an annual thing though.
Okay. As for the 10th grade FSA English requirement, if my kid did not take it because of COVID shutting down the schools last spring, but I know he did well enough on the SAT, does he need to do anything to report it?
These are awesome questions, I gotta tell you. They are really great questions. So students in the 10th grade, if it were offered, need to take the ELA FSA, okay? But now, since your child is in the 11th grade and already earned, let's say, a concordant or score on either an SAT or an ACT, they do not need to take the ELA FSA. But again, in the 10th grade, they do. This was an unusual year.
Okay. Let's see. Can you explain better the effect of having a bad grade on honor or AP classes? The extra points are only obtained if the grades are good enough. Julie, you want to go through?
Oh, yeah. Okay. So what I was just saying is that, remember, say they get a C, then that you're starting at 2.0. So you might get that extra 0.08, but you're starting at 2.0 to average into the GPA instead of 4.0 for an A. So that's all I'm saying is, yes, you still get those bonus points, that 0.08 for an AP class, but you're averaging in a 2 to your overall GPA if it's a C, or a 1 if it's a D. So you just want to be really cautious about that.
Okay. What does blank spaces in classes on the record card mean for a middle school student who recently moved from e-learning to brick and mortar? No one explained how it has to be understood. I don't know if I
I'm
understand.
not sure about blank space. What's the record card? I'm not sure what that's in reference to.
I don't know. I'll go to another one. This one is about Bright Futures. This program is only for Florida residents that are going to college in the state of Florida. That's a question. My daughter is a senior who already accepted in College of Coastal Georgia. She cannot apply for one of the Bright Future scholarships, correct?
I would highly recommend that she do apply for Bright Futures, because if she ends up in coastal Georgia and decides that she really misses Tampa, Florida, the Bright Futures money will still be there for her. I think they keep, I don't quote me on this, but I'm thinking it's 2 years. So it's happened to many students before. I don't need to apply because I'm going to go to Maryland or whatever. First semester comes and they decide to come home. So again, keeping all your doors open, apply for Bright Futures.
All right. Which GPA do colleges look at? The cumulative or the cumulative state, or which one?
They don't look at any of those. They recalculate them all.
They do?
Well, and that, again, we really encourage you to look at each university or college's website to see how they calculate it. But typically they'll take your core academic courses, and then they weight it a little differently. Like Julie, you had looked into that, right?
Yeah, so typically they take the core academic courses, they start with the same scale of 4, 3, 2, 1, etc. But then they give a full point to the class. So say you get an A in an AP class, then you would get a 5 instead of a 4, and then they average them all together. So instead of giving you weight at the end on top of your cumulative GPA, typically they give you weight to each course before they average, if that makes sense. But again, like Gail said, every school does it differently. So just, you want to check out the website for the colleges or universities that your child is interested in.
So they want to know if they've done 100 hours of community service. Do they have to register at the Bright Futures website?
No, those hours get entered in. I'm sorry, it's something about Profferfish, and I apologize because I haven't been in a high school in 5 years, but I know that they've moved the community service to this thing called Profferfish, and that's where they're supposed to be getting their hours entered or whatever, and then from there they get transferred into our mainframe system, and that's how your hours get onto your transcript. And then in senior year, I saw a question here, when can they apply for Bright Futures? It's senior year, and it typically opens on December 1st of your senior year. At that point, you're going to need, or well, no, then you have up until a certain date to make sure that you have everything. But I always say start early in the ninth grade, because in ninth grade, your kids aren't driving, they're not typically working and whatever, and they've got more time to focus on that stuff. So start knocking that out earlier. And then senior year, it's just a matter of getting all of your application things together, and life is beautiful and less stressful.
Yeah, on that note, once your kid starts working and making money, they don't want to volunteer and not get paid. I just experienced that with mine. So, but to follow up on what Gail's answer was, so the district will send your test scores, your GPA, your volunteer hours, and everything, but you still have to apply on that website that we gave you the links for, and this will all be shared, to Bright Futures, to get Bright Futures. You can, they don't just give it to you. You actually have to apply.
All right. Does an online course need to be a full year? Is it 1 credit, or can it be 0.5 credit half semester?
So that's kind of what I was talking about. Like, sorry, I don't know who's calling. If it's a full year course, like English or psychology, no, psychology is a semester. If it is a full year course, the whole course has to be taken in order for it to count. That's why a lot of kids choose like peer counseling or something like that, or even, I don't know, some kids do driver's ed online, whatever. Those are semester courses. That would count for the requirement, because that is the full course. It's only a half a year though. And believe me, they don't take a whole semester to do if the student works at it.
Okay. Do middle school credits count in high school? For example, if I think we answered that question, but it was asked at 5:42, so I'm not sure if that person was in. Do middle school credits count in high school? For example, if my kid took Algebra 1 and French 1, would the credit benefit?
Yeah, as long as it's a high school credit bearing class, then it will count in high school. But if it's, MJ Language Arts 3 or whatever, it's a middle school class, and that's not credit bearing, so it wouldn't. But yes, Algebra and French 1 would both count.
All right. And foreign language requirement for graduation? Is there one? Foreign language?
Question, because we didn't talk about that. That is not a requirement for a high school diploma, but it is a requirement for most universities. Again, looking ahead, looking what they want, but you don't need foreign language in order to graduate.
All right. This is a good question. Did they already do the ELA FSA this year because they didn't do it last year?
They did do retakes this year already.
They're still doing it. They're still doing it because of COVID and e-learning and all that craziness. They're allowing students to test all the way up through Christmas time this year. And again, they will do it in the spring.
My daughter is in her 3rd year of culinary at Wharton. Will that count toward her fine arts / performing arts credit as well as an elective?
I believe so. Now, I would want to look usually on their programming sheets or whatever, or in their curriculum guide, they'll tell them. But I do want to think that culinary, a certain level, counts as that. It is an elective. I know that for sure. But I got to find out where they can find the list of, I think it's on the DOE website, actually. So let me Google it.
All right, so while you're Googling, let me ask the next question. Where can we see the PSAT exam results?
Ooh, good question. I love it.
Some questions.
I love that question. They will be online in your child's College Board account, usually the 2nd week of December. And it's a very rich website. When you log in there, it's really cool. Like, we could do another whole hour on looking at your PSAT results.
Hey,
very cool.
You just conjured something up right there, Gail. Don't get me started. All right, here's a good question. If your child has an IEP, can they be exempt from state testing and still get a regular diploma?
So I'm quite certain that the law on that, or the rule on that, is that the student must take the state requirement, the FSA or the Algebra 1 EOC. If the student does not earn a passing score on those two assessments or either assessment, and the child has passed the class that they are in, usually they're in a reading course, or that's what we usually do, is we put the kids in a reading course. If they have met the requirements of that reading course, but can't pass or did not earn the 3, then they can get a waiver for that assessment. But they have to pass the class, because what that means is the test is not a measure of that student's ability, right?
So
the
the IEP team has to meet and decide that that test is not a measure of the student's ability and decide to waive the test results. And then, yes, you can get a regular standard diploma.
Okay. And when should one apply for the Bright Futures? Is it after college acceptance or before?
December 1.
December 1.
December 1st is senior year. Don't wait.
Don't wait.
Don't wait till you have your hours done. Don't wait till your test scores come in. Just apply. As you get those things, they will be taken care of. Apply early. Same thing with the FAFSA for you seniors out there. If you didn't apply for the FAFSA yet, please do that now.
All right. Do the students that attend STEM schools have more of a chance to get scholarships than regular schools?
I'm not sure about that one.
I think at any school, you can make the best of the situation. And I mean, taking rigorous courses and setting yourself up for success, doing well in classes, on tests, doing lots of volunteer hours and, leadership activities and all those things. I think it's definitely possible at any of our schools.
And a lot of times I know, just from experience with my students, leading up, like around 11th grade, I start looking for scholarships that are in their area that they may qualify for. Like, for example, my kids are African American, so I look up scholarships that are geared toward African American. There is like usually the guidance counselors or the school counselors at the school have like a list of different websites that are businesses that offer scholarships, and they can apply. It doesn't necessarily have to be a lot of companies have businesses, like I say, and I just really like Googled and looked for things that interest my kids and just had them apply. Sometimes it was just an application and you just had to submit your GPA and qualify through that. It wasn't really a lot. Like some you have to write papers and things like that. So you just have to be resourceful. And I think a lot of those links that you all had are very resourceful for them to look for those kinds of things. Is the full peer test at HCC, does that count for a reading benchmark?
No.
Took Spanish 1 and 2 as well as ASL 1, would both be by weighted GPA, or would the ASL be ignored?
Are they talking about for college GPA?
Probably. And everything counts for your high school GPA. And for college, I would think they would still both count as core. I think they consider foreign language core typically, but again, every college and university can do it differently.
All right, so this parent wants to know, what is the child's College Board account? What is that?
If they go to collegeboard.org, they'll see a thing that says either sign in or join now. Depending on what grade level, if they're in maybe 8th grade or something, maybe they haven't created a College Board account yet, they can create one. But before doing anything, make sure that the student says forgot username and puts their email address in to see if an email gets sent to them, because the last thing that you want to do is have your child create multiple College Board accounts. So they will go to, the College Board is the maker of the PSAT and AP. So through their College Board account, that's where they will register for an SAT, for a Saturday SAT. They will get their scores there. It's a very, very, very useful website. So collegeboard.org, either sign in or sign up. It's great.
Okay.
Oh, and Angela, I found the culinary 2 and 3 both count for practical and performing arts.
There you go. There you go. And here's another one that kind of like a dual question. If a student takes Hope online, does that cover both their Hope and their online requirement? Oh,
Now people
As
are
long
getting
as they
smart.
take the full year, because
Okay.
it's a full year course. So remember, if it's a full year course, you have to take the full year.
great.
And that one's one you can whip out quickly. Like, some kids will do it over the summer between
All
8th
right.
and 9th grade or something.
This is more like advice. My child is left with only 3 credits to complete next year. What will he do in his senior year?
I love this question because this happens all the time. Because if you think about it, we make our kids, in order for them to be considered full-time students in Hillsborough County Public Schools, they must take 7 credits every year. So 7 times 4 is 28. So unless they fail something, they will end up with at least 28 credits. Kids all the time say, well, I'm done. I only need English 4 and economics my senior year. I don't need to take anything else. But depending on what your child wants to do after graduation, take advantage of free college, do dual enrollment. They could do 3 classes of dual enrollment, depending on their ability. Maybe a CTE course might be better. Whoever's child is in culinary 2 and 3, or what a way to go. Earn industry certifications free while you're in high school. Take advantage of all of those really, really cool elective courses that we have that could potentially help your child be successful in their post-secondary, whatever it is.
All right. And this is a good question about the volunteer hours. Does it need to be with a 501c3 organization?
There's some specific information on community service. I think it's on our district website, and it tells you exactly. I don't think it has to be that specific. We've had kids go to like the Humane Society or a soup kitchen, or there's a multitude of things. And I think even through this Profferfish website, they actually even have suggested places in there.
Mm-hmm.
I think usually you have to get it cleared with the school beforehand, a lot of times.
And I think that's all done now online in this Profferfish thing.
Okay, just make sure before you go spend a lot of hours.
Yes.
Is Algebra 2 required to graduate? I took physical science in my 8th grade year. Will that carry over into one of my science credits now that I'm in high school?
Yep.
I see the head shaking.
No for Algebra 2, yes for science.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, depending on what you want to do.
Okay, I'm going to go now. We have more questions. It's okay. We're almost there. I just want to make sure all of them are answered. All right. Okay, is it a 1.0 or 0.5 credit needed for economics? If it is only 0.5, as was listed on that slide, do students only need to take microeconomic and not macroeconomics?
If a student, and they're referring to an AP class.
Okay.
So it is 0.5 required for economics. Economics is a semester-long course. AP microeconomics is a semester, and AP macro is a semester. So, and depending on your high school, I don't know if they require you to do both of those courses just because, but I don't think so. So they can.
I think they just need one.
Yeah, they can. I mean, they only need one to graduate, put it that way.
And I think you went over this in the presentation, but where can they get the results of their ELA assessment? Would it be posted on the report card, or do you have to wait? Can they get from the school?
That same website from the report card gives them their, it says report cards and test results, and it's the state test results. So it would be the FSA. And
they can get their personal students' information. Yep. Oh, yep. Wow. Awesome. Okay. Let's see. Does a I think we already asked that one. Where do they sign up for the SAT? I think we answered that.
Collegeboard.org.
Mm-hmm.
Or ACT.org.
Whichever one you want to take.
Yeah.
And thinking about the students who are currently remote learning, do they need to also take an online as a part of their graduation requirement? Is there remote learning a part of the requirement?
I haven't heard anything on that yet. Have you guys?
I don't know. I would think that's a kind of a very new question. We can check into that. I don't know that anybody has gotten that far, but we could definitely try to find out. And I mean, I would just, that information may be forthcoming from the state, you know.
All right. And the FSA from last year is not an exempt, right? Do they get an exempt for?
No, so if you were 10th grade, if your student was a 10th grader last year, then they still need to meet the requirement. They've got 2 years. They can either take FSA ELA retakes, or they can pass with, you know, a concordance score on either SAT or ACT.
All right, this is a good question, Julie. I know we were talking about this a lot. This is good. I really want to ask this one. It says, my daughter was ill and did not take most of her final exams last December. So that's the fall of 2019. On the date the school provided it. I went back last week and pulled up her fall 2019 report card once again, and still had F's listed on all of her exam grades for that semester. How can we get this fixed and updated? We have been trying through the school, the guidance office, to no avail. Also, we are the grades on her transcript. She submitted a paper request for a personal summary over 1 month ago and has not received it. She now has requested a full transcript through the new Scribble online system.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so the first part of the question, as far as report cards, I do not believe the report cards are ever reprinted. So the fact that she made up the test is wonderful. Her grades, I imagine, in the system are all updated and reflected. It's just that they don't actually reprint the report card. It's a static document. So I'm sorry to hear that you haven't been able to get this information from your school. I will be happy to help. If you want to email me your child's information or whatever, it's just first name dot last name at sdhc.k12.
There it is, Julie.
.us. Yeah. So I'm happy to help with that, but everything should be fine in the system, and hopefully that'll be reflected on the transcript as well.
If the child takes dual enrollment courses such as composition, will that meet the English requirement for graduation?
Yes. So if a student takes ENC 1101, which is the freshman comp English, let's say in their junior year, that could count for college credit, and it also counts as their English 3, or their third English credit. And then again, if they wanted to take ENC 1102, that would count for that, and they got college credit and high school credit. It's a beautiful thing.
This is a great question about industrial certifications. Okay, considering the options for industrial certification, do these have entry requirements? Paths start in 9th grade, or do they have entry prerequisite requirements? The open door slide was great, but what paths are required? I know those are our favorite slide. What paths are required for entry into that door? Various specialty tracks like welding or auto mechanics, or even if there's a track for chefs and cooks, culinary. So which door?
I love it.
Are there prerequisites for that door?
Again, at the high school, okay, and things are moving differently now too. We're moving toward a new information system and scheduling thing. But in the past, during programming time, your child would get a programming sheet, and on that programming sheet would list all the classes. So for the courses that you're talking about, you would see a little note, like it would be like a PR, like prerequisite or something, would be noted on the programming sheet to let you know if that course does have a prerequisite. So again, and I'm not sure, I haven't looked on the school's websites or anything like that recently. I heard they were updated, but frequently schools also have a curriculum guide, and especially right now coming out, believe it or not, we're getting ready to program for the next school year soon. So in a school's curriculum guide, they will list exactly what those prereqs are that you're talking about if the class does in fact have one. So again, and I know everyone's super busy, and I know it's you know, when you try to reach out to a school now, you might get their voicemail or whatever, and please understand, you know, it's nothing against you. I mean, I think we are all just a little bit overwhelmed with the circumstances right now, but now you've got more people here to help you guys. So like Julie said, please feel free to email either one of us. Mine is gail.batone at the whole SDHC. So, you know, we can serve as a resource too. And I don't mind. I like looking things like that up. Like I could look for you if you had a specific course like that. I don't mind at all. I love helping.
All right. You hear that? Folks, email. All right. Let's see. I think, oh, this is a good one about athletics. If your student is interested in playing athletics in college, but isn't sure or doesn't have any scholarship offers, should they still register for the NCAA clearinghouse?
I would have to look into that one. I don't think it would hurt. Julie, do you have experience with NCAA? I mean,
I do.
Do you?
I have experience with the NCAA clearinghouse, and this is why I really remember I wanted to, because a lot of times coaches may not express that to a student, because you can even get, you know, a scholarship at a JUCO, but you have to clear through the NCAA clearinghouse in order for them to have to offer you that. So I would definitely just register if I think my child is interested in playing any sport in college. It doesn't have to be D1. It could be D2, D3, JUCO, which means junior college. I would, because their qualifications are different. You have to qualify academically with those course grades in order for you to play. They're very strict. You can't, you know, all of those student athletes have to be eligible to play, and the way you get that clearance is through the NC. They can't even give you an offer unless you're cleared through the clearinghouse. I think that's it. Oh, I'm a senior. I just finished my FSA exams today. However, scored 570 on the reading section of the SATs. Does this meet the requirement? I think we covered that. Yes.
Good job.
Gail, I don't know if you have any thoughts on I just saw the one pop up about going from homeschool to regular high school. What things should I consider?
Oh, yes. I was getting there.
Sorry, Angela.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
No, I didn't know, Gail, if you had any thoughts on that, having been a high school counselor.
I mean, I guess that depends on like what if they're already in high school.
I guess just advice on moving from homeschooling to
just bring all the records that you've got of any of the courses.
Yes, she just said 9th grade, so.
Okay.
9th grade, current 9th grader?
Yes.
So however your child is doing courses now, you know, I've had homeschoolers run cross country for me, and he was a part of a co-op, and so he would do classes like
she said Florida virtual.
Yeah, so anything that any grades that you have that your child, so I would highly recommend doing it at a semester. First of all, like it's really difficult if you come in the middle of a semester, because it's not good for your child. Because think about, let's say even if they came in March of next spring, our kids are already in going in the 4th 9 weeks. That your child has missed a lot of that course. We would have to put them in courses, 1, that are available, 2, that match kind of what they've been having, but you know, you don't want to set your child up for failure. So the best time would be at a semester or the beginning of a year. So either, you know, in our semester now is going to be January 28th or whatever is when we start I think that's around then. End of January is the beginning of our second semester. Online on our district website tells you everything that you're going to need to register, get all of your ducks in a row. I love Hillsborough County Public Schools. I'm just saying.
So do I. So do I. And with that, I thank you all so much for your love that you showed your fellow colleague at Hillsborough County Public Schools, and our parents for this wealth of information. I'm telling you, I've just learned so much. I feel like I'm empowered to go help other parents. But if not, if I don't have the answer, guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to give them your email address. But anyway, this recording will be this is a recording, and it will be posted up on our YouTube channel. Go ahead and everybody subscribe to our YouTube channel. That way, whenever we have a new video that's posted, you'll get a ding, and you'll know it's a new one there, and you can watch it or share it with a family friend, because again, we have a lot of great information. And I'm going to follow up on some of these questions about technology or technical and beyond high school. What's some other coursework courses that we have, our options. So I thank you all for this great information you all shared with our parents today. I thank you all. And so with that, thank you for joining us tonight, families. We really do appreciate your interest, and stay up on your children. Don't let them, when they get those programming sheets, don't let them fill those things out by themselves. You sit right with them. You sit with them and help guide them. You saw, Julie, they told you how to get those extra points. They told you. So, and their interests, make sure they're not waiting until their senior year. They need to start now. So thank you all for being with us. And again, we're here to help. With that, I want to say good night and have a great evening.